is Chris Bousquet.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a quote from David Foster Wallace, which is, "How odd I can have all of this inside of me, and to you it's just words." I think this quote captures the conundrum of the ineffable, which is the idea that there are certain thoughts or experiences that are inexpressible in ordinary language. My project is to take on Austrian philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein's account of the ineffable. He asserts that there is no ineffable, that all thoughts are expressible in ordinary language. And this argument derives from his private language argument, which basically asserts that in a private language where there's only one participant, whatever is going to seem correct to that participant is going to be correct. And that means that there's no criterion for correctness in this private language. And as a result, he asserts that all meaning is publicly constructed. And as a result of this, there can be no ineffable, because any experience or thought you can only have privately will be meaningless. However, I posit emotional experiences as a counter-argument, a counterexample to his private language argument. And that's because with emotional experiences, as with all assertions about internal mental states, seeming correct is in fact equivalent to being correct. If I make an assertion like, I'm experiencing this emotion, that assertion is going to be unassailable. And as a result of that, these types of assertions can have meaning within a private language, and thus can be ineffable or inexpressible in ordinary language. However, I argue that ineffability is not only possible, but that there are certain things that are ineffable. And this is for three reasons. First is the necessary subjectivity of our experience. This means that in every experience, there's something that it is to be me and not to be any other person having the experience. When we try to describe this necessarily subjective element in objective terms, in ordinary language, it's going to lose its subjective aspect, and thus this aspect is something that's inexpressible. The other creator of ineffability is the generality of language. For all emotional terms, such as yearning, there is ambiguity. It can be hopeless yearning or hopeful yearning. And as a result, for any aggregation of these terms, you can still have an emotional experience that's more particular than the terms allow for expression. The other creator of ineffability is the temporal nature of language. If you look to your experiences, I think you'll find that many of them contain no sense of time or order, such as the aha experience, the aha moment. And thus you cannot express these by squeezing into a language which is highly structured and temporal. However, I posit art as a means of showing the ineffable, showing ineffable emotional experiences. You can do this in two ways. One, through evocation. Art can evoke experiences within a subject that the artist tends to portray. And thus, the artist does not have to articulate these experiences, but can recreate them in the subject. The other way that art can show the ineffable is by subjecting a reader or viewer to a formal representation of experience. They experience the formal aspects of a work much as the artist experiences the emotion, and thus the subject gains an analogical knowledge of the experience. And in this way, art can overcome language and express the ineffable.